Paltrocast now with Darren Paltrowitz. Get ready to listen to your favorite artists.
Paltrocast.
Andres, how's your day going aside from having to talk to media people like me?
It was going well so far.
Yeah, you never know when you're talking to an artist if they don't love journalists or they go, this is a substitute for therapy, that I'm just going to talk out all of my stuff and it's cheaper than paying a therapist. So never know.
It's kind of like that way, maybe, because you almost always ask questions that you don't ask yourself. So it's kind of like that.
Well, I'm going to do what I can to ask a few questions you're not regularly asked, but otherwise I'm going to celebrate and compliment you a lot. Is that okay?
That's fine with me. Thank you.
Okay, so you are headlining Carnegie Hall. That, you could play Madison Square Garden, but not necessarily be ready to play Carnegie Hall. Is there a lot of special preparation needed for you to do that show?
Yeah, I think one is going to take it very seriously. It's a very important venue. It has this lot of history. It's not easy to get there. I think you mostly prepare trying to show a career that may allow you to get inside. So it's very really many years trying to get there. And when we finally had the opportunity, obviously we enjoyed that very much. I'm very happy to come back, and I think maybe you can do bigger venues, but it has an artistic importance that it is very nice to have in your personal history,
On your CV, on your history, on your Wikipedia, all those things. And, the compliments are going to continue. Most artists, when they're playing live, they go, I have only 4 hit songs, so I'm going to spread that along the set list to keep people interested. In your case, I think there's something like 27 number 1 hits, and that doesn't count all the songs that didn't make it to number 1 but were still hits. So what is your performance at Carnegie Hall going to look like? Are you doing the hits? Are you doing the obscure stuff, a mix?
I think it's a balance of those, because you have to make sure that people are going to find the songs they're expecting, they're waiting for. They may be waiting for a couple of years to hear this particular song, and you try to please them, but you also have to try to find the way or the space to show them new stuff. So the ideal would be that he went to the show, enjoyed his favorite songs, and maybe discovered a new one he hadn't heard before. So you try to do that balance, and you try to make everybody happy, which is not easy at all. But you have to showcase some of your new work, and you have to be to make sure that it's an honest proposal, that you are really showing what you like the best, and that may help you get to them.
Yeah, well, with Carnegie Hall, one of the last concerts I saw, and maybe the last concert I saw, was the Beach Boys there. And the Beach Boys at Carnegie Hall is very different. They can't do as many of the tricks. They can't do the props. There's no costume changes. You can't leave the stage for a fake encore because there's an orchestra behind you. All the tricks are gone. It's like an MTV Unplugged. So when's the last time you did a show like this where you went, okay, this is all about the music and the performance? I can't have pyrotechnics and smoke bombs and dancers and all that.
Definitely, the last time I played Carnegie Hall, it was the first show of our last tour. Was the first date. So we got there and we discovered that we have to make it work just with the instruments. And in that case, it was a grand piano, an upright bass, a couple of horns, and a jazz guitar. So that was it. And that first show kind of determined how the rest of the shows were going to be. So we got used to working in such a very down-to-earth, simple, organic way, and make it work that way. And we found that was the most effective thing to do, not to rely at all in many other stuff. We had nice lights, of course, we had a great sound, but the thing was about the music and the storytelling of these songs. So I took the time to tell people about this song, the other, how it came to me, what do I remember when I sing it, and that kind of stuff. And it made up for a very nice show, which I took on tour exactly the way that I did it the first night at Carnegie. So that determined a lot of what came after. This time is going to be a little bit different. Although I'm not gonna have neither the props nor the special effects or anything, but I'm gonna take it a notch higher. This is a different setup. This is about drums, 2 electric guitars, keyboards and bass, a little bit of percussion. So it's louder. It has much more and a lot more energy to it, and it's more oriented to this pop rock side of my music. So it's going to be a different experience, but again, I have to be able to work with what I got right there, and I have to respect the room as much as I can.
Another thing that impresses me about your tour, which plays other excellent theaters and venues, is how many nights in a row you're singing. A lot of singers, once they hit a certain level, start and go, I'm not singing more than 2 nights in a row. My throat can't handle it. If you look at Aerosmith's tour routing, rarely are there 3 shows in a week.
Yep.
You have 4 nights in a row at one point in time. So are you doing a lot of vocal care? Do you have meticulous vocal warm-ups before you go on stage?
Yeah, I learned to do that, especially the last 4 or 5 years. I was doing musical theater. That's one of my formats that includes it's like it's mostly like a musical. I play my songs, and with the help of 2 other actors, we dramatize about the song and how it came to us, and I tell some stories around it. And I got used to do 3 single shows and 2 doubles a week. So that was very hard work, and I had to get a vocal coach who taught me a lot of interesting stuff and helped me do this kind of rampage better. So I've learned to take care of my voice, and I'm very meticulous with my warm-ups, and I try to get as much and as better sleep time as I can. And I think that's one of the things. You have to definitely sleep very well.
Got it. So after this tour wraps in early May, do you know what you're doing? Do you know where you're going, or do you get a little time off?
I'm going to have a couple of weeks off, but at that time I would have finished my album, which I'm going to be recording through February. And when that kind of time comes, it's going to be about to be released. So I'm going to work a little bit on that. And on July and August, I'm going to be touring again, but in Europe. And at the end of the year, I'm going to go back to Colombia and tour my country.
That's wonderful. So are you making the album in Colombia?
No, I'm recording in LA. I pre-produced everything here in Bogota, but I'm working in LA 3 weeks since the 9th. I'm going to be there recording a whole album the old-fashioned way, with all the musicians in the studio. 3 weeks of recording and then editing and then to the mix. Like the old days, I was kind of missing that. Instead of doing single by single with different producers, I was missing this whole album concept.
Do you do pre-production and demos when you're making an album?
Yeah, and I usually like them a lot. My wife collects them. She prefers the demos from the records. So yeah, and I at least it helps me visualize and understand what's going on with the song and where can it be going, and it makes me see right away if it's gonna suit me or not.
Okay, 3 more questions, and then I'm gonna let you go. And hopefully these are easy questions for you. But I want to learn more about you, because all I know are the hits. All I know are the accolades and the success. I don't know much about the dude. So the first thing is, what's the first concert that you went to as a fan?
Let me see. The first concert I went to as a fan, that would have been, I remember. There's a very big band in Latin America who that's over now, but it's called Soda Stereo. Probably the first concert I attended was a Soda Stereo concert in a very small venue here in Bogota. It was just in their beginnings, and I had the privilege to see that stage of their career before they went really, really big. And that inspired me to make music too. I started to go into other shows and other concerts, and I got it more and more attractive to have my own band. I must have been maybe 12, 13 years old when I went to that first show.
Wow. Okay. Next question. When it comes to touring the United States, it's very different from everywhere else in a lot of different ways. It's a bigger country than a lot of other places. What was the most difficult thing for you to get used to in touring the United States? Now that you've done it many times, but what was the hardest part at first for you?
The first times we were mostly traveling, we were on the road by bus, and certain parts of the country start to look very alike. So you kind of feel that you're going in circles because the next town is so much like the last one you were in, and the hotel, if it's this how do you call brand of hotels that's everywhere, that you have the feeling that you're sleeping every night in the same room. It's kind of crazy, and that's the first thing I felt, and that was kind of weird, but I got used to it.
Got it. Yeah, a lot of the United States does look the same, and especially when you're in a, you go hotel, venue, bus, it's the same thing.
It's the same thing, and if it's a long plain road, well,
Exactly. Well, last thing I'm curious about, you've also found success in television because you did a dozen or so seasons on The Voice in Colombia, La Voz, if I'm saying that correctly.
Yep.
When did you know that there was going to be more to your career than just sing the song, write the song, perform the song, but rather writing for other artists, performing on television? When did you realize that you weren't just singer-songwriter guy?
I just got invited, and I gave it a chance because it never went through my head that I would be doing TV, for example. So I was invited. I was very scared at the beginning. I was not feeling very sure about it, and I gave it a chance. I saw the show that was being aired in other countries, in Spain, for example, or in Britain, and I thought it was a nice show, and it was respectful with its contestants, and it had a nice art level, and the coaches were really good musicians. People I admired, so I said, let's give it a chance, and it went well. I found something I really liked. I enjoyed the show a lot. I like working with kids. I enjoy being with other artists and competing, sort of, but it's not really a competition. But I have had fun, and people in my country have had the chance to know me in a different way. I tend to be very authentic in my job in TV, so people have enjoyed that.
Well, I'm inspired right now. Sounds like I should watch La Voz when I can. But I'm looking forward to your Carnegie Hall show, looking forward to what's to come from you, your new album and all that. And I think you've just inspired me. I've only been to Cartagena. I've not been to Bogota yet.
Okay.
I think I have to go to Bogota. I think I'm going to ask around to find out where are the places that Andres likes to go, and that's where I'm going to go. But
this is your house. Whenever you want to come over, this is your house, okay?
Well, bottom line is congrats on the many years of success and really looking forward to what's to come in your artistic career.
Okay, hope to see you soon. Hope to meet you. It was nice to meet you at Carnegie if you got the time.
Paltrocast.
Monica, Rebecca, pleasure to be speaking with you both again. I'll throw the first one to Rebecca. Sad that the show is ending, but how much of this final season did you have in mind when you started writing it?
When I started writing the show 3 years ago, or started writing season 3?
Writing the show 3 years ago. Okay, did you know how it was going to end and where it was going to go?
Not entirely, but I definitely had big sort of like archetypal moves in my mind for most of the main characters. So I think And I think those all pretty much held. I think I think of writing as very sort of mathematical. There's,
Sure.
things have a geometry, I guess you'd say. So I kind of knew how who would end up on top and bottom and that kind of thing. So that ended up mostly holding, I would say.
Well, on that same topic, Monica, fantastic work that you've done throughout the series. That is a compliment. There's no but or, clickbait kind of thing.
Thank you.
How much did you know about where it was heading towards season 3 at the beginning of the show?
I don't know anything. As an actor, I read the scripts when they're ready to be read. So I had no idea how this would go. It's as exciting for me as it is for the viewer, because I was learning as Rebecca, was ready to share the stories with us. It's so fun not knowing the end. Like there's no other way to do it as an actor. Like it's important for me to be surprised. It's important for me to not judge the character, and not quite know where this goes, so that I can explore every possibility as the actor. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. So you, like us, were finding out about the season pickups when they were happening.
Oh yeah, I mean, it maybe like a few minutes before you, but yeah.
I mean, we gave her time to read the script. She wasn't like
they give me time to take a few photos in front of the new billboard.
Yeah.
The bottom line is Monica does the work, and Rebecca, looking back on an acclaimed show like this, for some people that they would hang their hat on that, and the rest of the life you would see them at the bar and they'd be like, I made Hightown. No, not you. You're not sitting on your laurels. Are we allowed to know what's next for you? Or is it all Hightown forever, the Hightown cruise, etc.?
No, I have a couple things in the hopper, but the one that I'm allowed to talk about is a new show for Starz called The Hunting Wives. It's based on a novel of the same name, takes place in Texas, and we're going to be shooting that this year. So I'm very excited.
Wow. Shooting in Texas?
No, actually.
These days, you never know where the thing is filmed. Here in Long Beach, Long Island, sometimes they film here and they say it's Massachusetts, sometimes it's Florida, sometimes it's Utah. You never know. So I'm looking forward to that. And Monica, are we allowed to know what's next, or is it you have to wait for the Hollywood Reporter embargo lift?
The embargo lift. Yeah, there's a few things happening. But right now, I'm excited to keep working with Starz. As a director, I'm directing Raising Kanan coming up. I'm doing another Power Force, and I'm excited to stay in that Lionsgate family. So I'm trying to do a little bit more directing, as well as hopefully maybe developing down the road. And I'd love to keep acting in TV series and features.
Okay, so follow-up question to that. As somebody who has the pleasure of doing all the Power junkets, do you have a favorite book of Power? Is it the Raising Kanan?
I think so. Mostly because I'm like such a geek for period pieces. And so I love that era, and I'm excited to play in that era. I've never done anything in that location in New York or in that era. So I'm excited for Raising Kanan.
And the last question, the last word goes to Rebecca. Do you get to vacation anytime soon, or is this Starz just keep you busy all the time and no vacations?
Well, I just got my passport renewed after not having a passport for a few years. So yes, hopefully I will get to go out of the country or out of town. But I'm going to be busy for a little while. But don't worry, I have a great life, and don't you worry about me.
She's in high demand. Okay, she's not going to be taking a vacation for the next 15 years.
You both are. Well, the bottom line, thank you for your time. Congrats on the new season. Congrats on the series, and looking forward to everything that's to come from both of you.
Thank you.
Paltrocast.
Diego, how is your day going aside from answering the same questions over and over and over again?
It's good. Just sipping some coffee in this coffee mug my girlfriend got me right here. But it's good. Yeah. Excited to have the movie come out January 26th. So, getting ready for that.
Is there coffee in the coffee cup, or because it's late in the day, has it gone to water?
I just finished it all. I just drank it all, but it was so good. My girlfriend makes the best coffee. I actually wasn't a coffee guy. My girlfriend turned me into a coffee guy.
Really? What were you before then? An energy drink person?
No, nothing. Maybe like black tea occasionally.
So
I like to not be dependent on anything. But it's safe to say I'm pretty dependent on coffee now.
Yeah, I wish I could go back to the days when I didn't need water or energy drinks. But anyway,
Yeah.
we're here to talk about Bad Hombres. When did you actually film Bad Hombres?
Great question. We shot this movie February 2021, all of February. It was a 1 month shoot, I believe.
Wow, so that was back when people didn't know how to make movies in the midst of COVID.
Yeah. We had the mask, we had all of that stuff. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Wow, so every day the on-site swab up your nose kind of situation?
Yeah. And every day everybody was scared. They were like, shit, am I gonna get it? Are we gonna cancel production? They were like, don't go out, don't go to the store to buy that. Just stay in your hotel. Yeah.
Well, yourself included, it is a great cast. A lot of films, they just have 2 or 3 people you recognize. This film has at least 7. And had you worked with any of the people before? Because Thomas Jane, there's a Hemsworth.
I've never worked with. No, it's safe to say I've never worked with any one of them prior to that film, but I was very aware of their, I guess, presence in cinema. Right, I grew up watching their movies and TV shows. Obviously, Fast and the Furious. Obviously, The Punisher. One Tree Hill, Paul Johansson, Queen of the South, Hemke Madera. So I was aware. I was very aware. I think the one where I've probably fanboyed the most is probably working with Nick Cassavetes. Obviously, director of The Notebook, John Q, Alpha Dog, one of my favorite movies of all time. It was such a surreal moment, and I think hopefully I didn't fanboy too hard when I asked for that selfie with him. But I would like to definitely work with him again, along with John Stahlberg. John Stahlberg he knows everything and anything about cinema, and I definitely want to collaborate with him again as well.
Not just the director, also wrote the story for the film. That's kind of a rare thing these days, where the director also comes up the story.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Amazing writer.
So you mentioned 2021 is when you filmed this, and On My Block was also ending in 2021. So did you go straight from one to the other?
Oh shoot! You know what? I meant 2022. I'm sorry. It was.
Oh, okay.
I get my dates mixed up. Yeah. So I wrapped up On My Block, and then I went to Budapest to shoot Knights of the Zodiac, and then right when I came back, I had like a couple weeks off, and then I went into production for Bad Hombres in 2022. Yeah, that's right. Man, time flies by. I forgot it's 2024.
2021, 2022, they could be super lumped in together in some
Yeah.
ways. We remember 2020 distinctly. I think we remember 2023, but those 2 years, you're not wrong right there.
Yeah. No, thank you for catching me on that. It was a hectic ride, right? With everything. I teach an online acting studio called the Actors Campus, and I tell all my actors inside of there, I'm like, guys, undeniably, the 20s of this century have been the most difficult for an actor. I mean, we're talking pandemic, COVID, mask mandates, all of this stuff on set that interacts and interferes with the craft and the ability to work. And then you get the writer's strike, you get the freaking actor strike. There was so much that got thrown our way. So I tell everybody, I'm like, if we can survive all of that, if we've made it past all of that as actors, we're going to be okay for the next 10 years.
You left out 2 big ones right there. Movie theaters nearly crumbling because everything went to on demand. And I think we've seen like 3 or 4 streamers rise and fall within the last 5 years. You remember Quibi?
I do, actually. Yeah, but it was like the short form movies, right?
And then silently, like Roku bought that catalog for a couple of dollars, and people don't realize those are the Quibi shows.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, man. It's been an interesting decade in cinema in Hollywood.
Well, that ties into something that I'm curious about, because nowadays everything is back to the theaters, or it's a limited theater thing, and then it goes to on demand and digital. In this case, when you were making Bad Hombres, did you have any sense of this is a streamer, this is a limited theater kind of thing?
Oh, that's a great question. I didn't even ask, and maybe it's a good thing, maybe that's a bad thing, right? I was just so excited to work with the talent, and John was so passionate about it that I was like, man, this guy has a vision. I want to be a part of this vision. He's the captain of the ship. Let me be the right-hand man on this ship. And nevertheless, the goal remains the same, right? To give a authentic performance and bring it to life and to honor the story and honor the truth. So truthfully, I didn't even think about that. But, as the day approaches, I'm sure that I believe that we can watch the movie on like you said, Amazon will have it, Apple TV will have it. You could buy it or rent it there, and then some theaters too will have it. So
Exactly. In theaters and on demand, I think it's January 26th and then DVD 6 or so weeks later. But anyway, it's a new movie to us. It's an old movie to you. You are a working actor and teacher. Are we allowed to know what's next, or do we have to wait for the Hollywood Reporter to say so?
No. So right now, like I mentioned, I have a 100% online acting studio where I'm teaching anybody and everybody how to essentially do what I've done, right? At the most cost-effective rate, at the safest and clearest way, and it's hands-on. I teach it, right? Everything there is I teach it. But again, human beings have been human beings since the beginning of time, and I think that social interaction in person is something that we not only crave as human beings, but especially as artists. So my next goal right now is to open up an in-person acting studio in my hometown, or maybe in Orange County, maybe in LA. We'll see what happens. And then on top of that, I'm also working on a boxing movie production and a horror film production. So we're in the final stages of writing those, and we got a great team attached. And now the next stage is just going to be getting onto a set, filming those two bad boys, and then bringing them to life.
Is that hometown Cleveland, or is that a Wikipedia lie?
No, I saw that as well. No, it's my hometown is Corona, California.
Oh,
yeah, but
you're totally West Coast person.
We didn't start the coronavirus though.
Why do they think you're an Ohio person?
I don't know. I saw that as well. I think it was my IMDb or my Wikipedia. I was like, Ohio. I was like, that's new.
Yeah, you're.
I wish. That'd be pretty cool.
There you go. And the last point of curiosity I have before I let you go is, obviously you're focused on the craft because you're not just on camera, but you're teaching the next generations of performers. But when you're not doing all that, what's the number two passion? Because these days actors are not just actors. You usually find that they're budding entrepreneurs, singer-songwriters, etc. Is there another thing from you, Diego?
Oh man, I wish I was talented enough to be singing and writing music. No, I think when I'm not working on a set and when I'm not teaching, I just like to hang out with my girlfriend, my family, my day ones, hang out, maybe hit the gym, go to jujitsu, hit the boxing gym, just to stay activated, stay out of trouble. I think something that I struggle with at least is like if I'm not constantly occupied with something, I'm getting into a little bit of trouble, and that's the last thing I want to do for my career, man. I mean, my parents didn't come this far just so I can do a couple films and projects and then blow it. So I'm just trying to stay focused. I think that's half the battle, like Muhammad Ali says. Half the battle is just staying out of this place and that place and out of this and that. So just trying to take the advice from the greats and hopefully become one of the greats.
So you just quoted Muhammad Ali. You mentioned a boxing movie being in process for you, and boxing being one of the hobbies. So in other words, it's not going to be a crappy boxing film made by non-boxing people. It's going to be a legit one.
Well, we got a very legit project here, and I'm only going to make it if we get the right people, the right team, the right budget, all of that stuff. I'd do the movie for free. I'm not in this game to make money, really. I'm not in this game to like make a big buck, cash out, and then screw the movie. It turns out bad. I want to make the best possible movies. Money comes and goes if you're passionate and if you're true to your work. But again, if you're not true and passionate about your work, then you're gonna get shitty work, and no one's gonna want to watch it. You know what I mean? And that's just the raw truth, right?